Hey everybody, welcome to Around the Twist, SSK 2015 edition, day, let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4. I did the day 3 recap this morning. I have a very early flight tomorrow. Well, it's not too early, but my shuttle is early tomorrow morning. I'd rather not record from the airport. So you get me tonight. Let you know what went on today. Saturday, easy morning. We had breakfast in the Great Hall, what we call the Great Hall, hang out and knit in the main building. They had vendor markets set up this morning, well yesterday afternoon and this morning. The market opened at 10 to attendees, and I kind of hung back. I didn't want to get in the line in the initial rush. There wasn't anything I really needed to have. There were a great many things I wanted, but nothing I was really desperate to get, besides a couple things. And I did get both of those, which you'll see in a minute here. So I went in about a little before 11. I waited about 45 minutes or an hour, and there's plenty of room. I could stroll around, I could get in booths. Then lunch, again in the Great Hall. Back for more knitting and perusing the market in the afternoon. That's when it opened for the public. And that was really the day. I came back and took a nap because I'd been fighting a massive headache all day long. That finally kicked it, so I kind of skipped dinner. We had the farewell ceremony, closing reception, whatever we're calling it, and I continued my streak. Well, the first year I was hosting, so I couldn't win any prizes. The second year I didn't win anything. I didn't come last year, so I couldn't win anything, and once again, no door prizes for Karen, which is fine because I got plenty of other stuff. So let me show you. These were, let's get that up. These were the market bags this year. Nice, simple, reusable grocery bag type thing with the logo on it that Beck designed. It was so sweet to design. And before I even made it into the market, the lovely Tara, Worcester weight, not my daughter, I wish she could come. She's still a little bit small, hasn't quite got the hang of the knitting and the spinning down yet. She was kind enough to go to her Pyrex dealer. She has a Pyrex dealer. How awesome is that? When I'd mentioned that somewhere in the move, the lids for, I have 3 little Pyrex casserole dishes, and the lids went missing somewhere. I don't know where. Maybe they broke and I threw them away. I don't remember. But she was nice enough to go to her Pyrex dealer, and I think I found the small ones, but I didn't find the big one. I found one, but I didn't find the other one. So I'm not taking it out, but inside of this, all wrapped up, protected, nice and neat, she brought me a lid for my Pyrex. So Tara, thank you so much. She's had it for a while and was kind enough to bring that for me. So yay, I have lids again. I picked up something for a friend, some bitty bats from Nitti and Color. These are 2-ounce bats that, there's not a name for them for the colorway, they're just called bitty bats. And they are 2 ounces each bag of Angelina, Firestar, Merino, Merino Bamboo, Merino Silk, and Superwash Merino. So a lot of Merino and sparkle, basically. And some silk and bamboo thrown in for good measure. But Kimber, Knit Kimber, these are coming to you. She had asked anyone who was there if we would be there, her yarn and fiber mule. And I was happy to do that for her. So now on to what I got for me. This is going to be the fun part. This was one of the things I wanted, was to get to Miss Babs, pick up a 4th skein of Yowzas, because of course I bought the 3 skeins for the 3 weight shawls, and what does Susan B. Anderson do? Darn you, Susan, you come out with a 4th one. So I had to get a 4th skein. And I got something a little outside my color zone. It's called Zombie Honeymoon. And I'm really not that big of a fan of the green, and the hot pink's a little, I'm more like the jewel tones, so some of the darker areas of the green work for me because they're bordering on like that emerald green color, but the lime areas and then the hot pinks I'm kind of going yeesh, and then there's purple in it too, and it's one of those, I wouldn't have picked it, but I was gravitating toward what I always get, and I went, no, I need to pick something outside my comfort zone, so this was it, Zombie Honeymoon. Love it. I went into the Cyborg Craft Room booth, And I saw this and it just spoke to me. It's called Ain't No Party Like a Cyborg Party, and I told her it reminded me of Funfetti cake, and she laughed. So this is her Asakalate base. It's the 7525 Superwash Merino and Nylon, her fingering weight. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I saw all that lovely splatter funfetti effect, and I had to have it. And that's a pretty generous base. It's 463 yards in a skein. So a lot of yardage there. I'm sorry, these are Crinkly Tuft Woolens. She made an exclusive scent for, that I showed you guys, the sock soap for SSK, the Blueberry Lemonade. And I'm sorry, it's crinkly cellophane bags, gotta love them. But she had it in what she calls the bath bar. And I'm assuming it's just like regular soap. It just says, surround yourself in luxurious bubbles, essential oils mixed together to fill your bath with fragrance and leave you smelling beautiful. For maximum life, please store this soap in a well-draining soap dish. So I'm assuming that this is just like regular soap and I can use it like at the sink as hand soap. That's what I'm going to do. And it smells so good. I love handmade soap, and when I saw she had some of this and something other than the sock soap, I was like, yes, I had to have it. So I got 2 bars of that. I stopped by Beck, Laura's sister. She was running her Gus Allure Designs booth. And because, again, from the move, like half of my t-shirts, you might notice when I'm recording, I'm wearing the same like 5 t-shirts over and over again. I know I purged a lot of my t-shirts, but there are several that I know I did not purge, and I have no clue where they are. All of our boxes, or pretty much all of our boxes, are unpacked. The only ones left are books or my craft room, and none of my clothes went in those boxes. So I had to get another shirt. I had to. So I got, rather than mash, it's stash. So I got a t-shirt. Well, we'll see if you can see this through here. I hit up Tangerine Designs booth. I'm not going to take this, well, no, I can take it all the way out. She didn't seal them. Casey, the lovely Casey of Tangerine Designs. I got the hubby a Christmas ornament because I had to. I had to. So yay, that Casey hand-painted, or hand-drew, hand-painted those, and she was kind enough to double bag it for me, so let me get it back in the little bubble wrap so it survives the plane ride, and of course I'll well cushion it with all this fiber and yarn that I bought. One thing I don't have for my cross stitch, which I brought with me but I didn't touch, of course, but if I wouldn't have brought it, I would have wanted it, so there you have it. I don't have a needle minder. It's just a little double magnet that goes, you kind of sandwich your fabric in between the 2 magnets, and then the magnet is strong enough too that your needle sticks to it. So you're not having to poke your needle through your fabric, or like I do. This is very dangerous. Don't do what I do. I do this because I'm the only one awake usually when I'm cross stitching. I stab it into the cushions of the couch, into the arm, or actually into the cushion if I'm in the basement, because I sit in the center of the couch away from the arms. And I've had hubby come down and like put his hand on it, and even though it's the back end of the needle, the eye end, he'll still kind of stab the palm of his hand with it. So don't do that. Do as I say, not as I do. But she had these cute little narwhal needle minders. So I got one of those for my cross stitching. And also she had the Knitting is Cool kit, which I had looked at when they first came out, and I couldn't swing it. You can kind of see through there. I'll read you what all's in it. This was a collaboration with Susan Claudino, I believe her name is, and Ponky from another crafty girl, Sarah. Knitting is Cool kit includes a Knitting is Cool project bag that Casey from Tangerine Designs did, the Dr. U pattern and a Ravelry download code from Susan Claudino, the safety eyes and safety floss, yarn from another crafty girl, a stitch marker from Vintage Rose, and a pin back and walnut pin. Pin back button and walnut pin. Oh, cool. So it's basically a little stuffed Doctor Who sheep that has a bow tie and a fez. And according to Casey, when I said, ooh, I should see if I can get more of the yarn from Ponky, and she said, oh, there's enough in the kit to make 2, because my plan is to make one with the fez and the bow tie for Gabe, and one, I've seen a lot of people that have made them, have taken the bow tie pattern, and rather than putting the fez on the sheep, they put the bow on top of their head, so they have a Dr. U and companion. I love it. I think it's so cute. So that's the plan for this lovely little kit that I'm very excited that she had a bunch of them and I was able to grab one. What else? I made it to Mustache Sheep. I wanted to get some of her Dark Side of the Moon, which I ended up getting Dark Side number 4. There was a Dark Side number 3 and a number 4, and I'm not sure what the difference is. But this is her OCD, which is 2 perfectly matched half skeins. So I can take these apart and wind them and have 2 socks that will match without me having to dig through to the next striping set. And this is the thin striped Dark Side of the Moon. I believe Yarn Harlot got some of this. And it's her 80/20 superwash merino and nylon base. So I could have gotten a lot more of the mustache, and I didn't. That was good. I restricted myself to 1, but she had a lot. She had the Sesame Street, she had the Anna and Elsa frozen colorways, Martian Rainbow, she had her Kama Sutra, that I think is a 20 striper. That's insane. That's nuts, but I left those for other people to get and enjoy. And then I was kind of going around the market with, Froggy Monkey, Amy, from Knitting in Circles. And she had asked if I was looking for anything specific, and I said, well, yeah, I kind of want to get some sock blanks from Gail, of Gail's Fiber Arts, because I've been chatting with Gail this week, and she'd asked all about the twins, so that was kind of fun to have. And I've been seeing Lynn Zim, my friend Lynn, knitting up, in particular, this one, which is her, oh gosh, did she put the names on? Please say you did. Yes, Fireworks on the 4th. So it's the sock blank, similar to the one I did from Neely's Knits, but Gail does a stencil to get the fireworks, or I've seen her do bunnies, or, well, I'll show you a couple of others, because I got 2, and then Amy kind of looked at them and been like, oh, I love them, but I hate knitting with them. And I said, well, I don't mind knitting with them. I'll knit you a pair of socks. I told her, don't expect them anytime soon, but I'll knit you a pair of socks. So I got that Fireworks on the 4th, and I also got, what is this one called? I didn't even look. Rockstar Rainbow, that has stars and lovely, bright, fun colors. And then Amy picked out this one. So these are going to be her socks eventually, called New Leaf. And it's kind of a very muted rainbow, which I love these colors too, so this will be a pleasure to knit. And they're very generous sock blanks. They're 463 yards, and it's a superwash merino and nylon 75/25 blend. So that's everything that I got. I thought I was very restrained. I looked in every booth. I was going to try to get some Anchorworks bobbins for my Lundrum with the woolly winder. They didn't have any, so I'll have to place an order for those eventually. They said right now they're 5 weeks out on orders. So if you place an order now, your bobbins will be done in 5 weeks. But he had one of his 3D printers set up and printing stuff, so it was kind of like the, ooh, let's watch the 3D printer go. So that was kind of fun to see. Plus, Aiden is really tall, like really tall. So there are a bunch of hilarious pictures floating around Instagram of Susan B. Anderson, who's this teeny little woman, and like he could almost rest his elbow on her shoulder or the top of her head very easily because this height discrepancy was so crazy. Oh, and then Amy, Froggy Monkey, also brought me this. This is from a while ago when she kind of first started knitting-ish, and she wanted to make a Jane hat. She didn't realize her gauge was so off, so she brought it for me for the babies. So I have a little baby Jane hat for either Gabe or Tara, whoever will wear it. I'm guessing Tara will be the one I managed to get pictures with because Gabe is not really a hat person. But we'll get home and I'm sure I'll be posting pictures of them in that. And then what I knit on all day, I did a little bit of knitting on my Yowza Weigh It shawl. So this will look very similar to how it looked the Wednesday night when I was, the first night here when I showed you everything that I had knit since the trip. started. So I think there's really not much done. I think I knit maybe 4 or 5 rows. That's it. So this is Yowza Weight shawl number 3 in the Berlin colorway of Yowza. Patterns by Susan B. Anderson. And that was just like my plain knitting. Good mindless knitting. I feel like I'm... Excuse me. Felt like I was going to sneeze, and sure enough. And then the other thing that I knit on today was my from my Shawl Shapes class, my shawl designing class that I took from Susan B. Anderson. The fiber optic hand spun that I did in the Rouge Violet Cerulean colorway. And I'm still on the Rouge. Obviously the ball is getting a little bit smaller, not a whole lot. I'm still in the red. But I knit on this good chunk of today and at the closing ceremonies. So it's growing. This is going to be the top edge. And you can kind of see a little more. So I'm doing these eyelet rows, and I did 3. I promised Susan I would put this on the blog, on the show, so she could see. And I still don't know if I'm going to write it up or not. I might. So I did these wider spaced apart eyelet rows, 3 of them, and then I did 3 closer. And I think I'm going to keep going with the progression, and I did 4. Well, I am going further with the progression. I did 4 wider spaced eyelet rows, and now I'm ready, and I'm going to do 4 closer spaced, and then I'll do 5 wider spaced, 5 closer spaced, 6, however big it ends up being. So we'll see about writing it up. It's kind of a combination, I mean, now having looked at the patterns, it's kind of a combination of the shape of the hitchhiker without the sawtooth edge, and then the eyelet rows of the Bactus shawl, but rather than them being straight up and down like on the lacy Bactus, it's on the bias because of how the shawl is set up, because of how you knit it. So I'm just going to keep going until I run out of yarn. It's probably going to be 8,000 feet long because I have 520 yards of this yarn, and yeah, I Navajo plied it, and it's a light fingering in places, it's a heavier fingering in others, it's obviously hand spun, and that's perfectly okay. But that's what I've been working on because I keep wanting to see how it's going to come out, how close am I going to get to the next color, and of course I don't. But I got through probably these last 3 solid sections during the closing ceremonies tonight. So that's it. That's everything. I need to shower and pack tonight because my shuttle to the airport comes, I forget whether I signed up for 6 or 6:30, so I'm going to be over there at 6, which entails being up early enough to make I'm debating being up early enough to make a Starbucks run here or just waiting for the airport, but the last time I did that on the way out, that was tempting fate, and I never made it to Starbucks because like I said, my flight was loading right as I got to the gate. So I haven't decided yet. We'll see. Because I don't want to be stuck outside security trying to hurry up and slug down a coffee. I'm debating. We'll see, but I'm definitely going to shower and get packed tonight so that I'm ready to go in the morning, and it can just be like 2 things thrown in the suitcase and be done. So I think that's it for the night. That's it for SSK. I'll be back on Wednesday with the regular show, which will also include kind of a mini recap, but hopefully Sunday night while I'm trying to stay awake, I plan to upload all these videos. I'll probably do them as little separate chunks. That's the plan anyway. That way you don't have to sit down and see this big, huge, long thing all in one go. And I'll just put them all up in one entry on the blog. And obviously you can find it on YouTube, you can find it on iTunes, and you can find it on Blip, as well as the blog roundthetwistwithkaren.blogspot.com. And that's it. So until this Wednesday, happy knitting.